Hi subscribers, hi viewers, and I've got another issue that I want to discuss. A lot of people, they always ask me, we've been seeing videos and we've been hearing that Chinese are more racist than any other race. I can say this: living in China, I've never experienced openly racism. Open racism, I've never experienced it. But you can tell some people have got an attitude of ignorance. Nobody's called me a nigger. Nobody's called me like, get away, you black person, stuff like that. And let me just share my experience with you. When I came to China, on my first day in China, I tried to get a taxi, but my communication was so bad that I could not communicate with the taxi driver. And so saying is, to me, that was a little bit tricky and a little bit funny, because I could have accused the taxi driver. He just simply told me, like, in sign language, like, go away, as to mean like, I can't help you. First of all, he did not know where I was going. Second, the language barrier would have had problems up ahead. So the person just decided, like, to say, no, you go away. Not to say as you go away, but to say, just leave me alone. That's a taxi driver. Some people might translate that to racism. And on the first day, yes, I translated it to racism. Europeans are more openly racist than any other race that I've come across in my life. I've lived in Europe more than I've lived in Africa. I'm an African person. I've lived in Europe more than I've lived in China. So I can say I've got the best of both worlds. I can relate both worlds. I suffered more racism in England than I think I'll ever experience in China. Although that could have been caused by, this is a park. I know I've been cycling in the park I'm about to leave the park and just show you there's a canal on the outside. So I can say maybe because I lived in England a long time. So this is the story. I've been called a nigger. I've been called in England. This is, if you ask any British person, they will tell you that, you know, white people, ignorant, arrogant white people, who don't know that blacks are blacks. They just call any other race. It's either you're a nigger or you're a paki. I've been called a paki. Some people have called me over just to give me a banana. I've just been discriminated so many times. That was open racism. But the funny thing about the English people is, I can say white people in general, they will smile at you whilst hating you. They will show you a dog smile to say, yes, we are friends or we are friendly. But in reality, they're just saying, fuck you, nigger, at the back. So now let me come down and relate this to the Chinese culture now. The Chinese culture is like this. With the attitude, is these people don't give a fuck. They just don't generally give a fuck. Not because they don't give a fuck about black people, not because they don't give a fuck about anything. They just don't give a fuck about even each other. If a Chinese person has got no business with you, they've got no reason to be friends with you. I've seen this amongst themselves. Like, I used to tell my wife to say, how come these people are so unfriendly? But if they're willing to help, if you show like you need their help and stuff, not really for directions and everything, they'll be more friendly and they'll be happy to direct you to the right direction. And the government, the Chinese government, is really trying to encourage people to be more friendly. I've lived in Beijing and I've lived in out of Beijing in two other cities, which was Wuhan and what's this one? Wuhan and Wuching in Tianjin. So whilst I'm relating this, is people there were more friendly because I was the only foreigner. And the black Chinese people, they wouldn't call you a nigger in front of everything or in front of everyone. What they will call you a foreigner. Everyone is a foreigner in China, whether you're white, black, whatever it is. Ask anybody who has been to China or who has lived in China. Now, the other thing where people might relate it to racism is, yes, white people do get better treatment and preference compared to their black counterparts. You got more chances and more opportunities, and if you're white than if you're black. Really, it's more openly in that way. I can say they admire more white people than black people. But every time they see a black person is every time they see a black person, they think maybe you're a sports star. They always ask, can you play basketball? Can you play football? Can you do this? So in seeing this and relating it to it every day, it is funny because that's stereotyping people. But when you come down, like racism is more done by white people. No wonder why everything that's done to discriminate against other people is more encouraged, and the Caucasian race is always involved one way or another. Now I'll say racism is a result of ignorance. If you meet somebody that has traveled, I'm sure if you're an American and you meet someone that has been to Canada, or someone who's been to Japan, or somebody who's been to Mongolia, someone who's been to Saudi Arabia, somebody who's been to Mexico, Colombia, Bolivia, you see now, if you meet somebody that has traveled, who's more exposed, who has left their comfort zone, they'll be more friendly. And racism is a sign of ignorance. Most racist people, they've never ever left their country, and they've got no idea that there's far much better countries and better living people, more happy people than their small territory. In conclusion, to put it down like this, I will say Caucasians are more racist than any other race in the world. And I have seen it, I have experienced. Don't get me wrong, I've got more Caucasian friends than I've got Asian friends. I've got more Caucasian friends, no, not really, than black people. I can't compare that because I've traveled to where there's a majority of black people in my lifetime, but I try to spend more time learning more about other races, learning more about other cultures. But if you think like racism exists in China, just go back and try to understand the Chinese culture first. Then you'll come back and realize that people don't just don't give a fuck, or they just don't care. If somebody does not care about you and they ignore you, it don't mean that they're racist. It means they don't care about you or your issues or your business. But if someone has to come down and openly call you a honky, or don't come in here because you are black, don't come in here because you are white, somebody open says you monkey, I've been called a monkey, or you nigger, that's being racist, and says you can't do this because of the color of your skin, right? So this is what's happening, and that's what we experience. And the other thing that I'll say is, you know, our nationalities, they do help, especially if you travel a lot or you want to reside in a different country. If you're from a well-to-do country, you are more treated friendlier. But if you're from a country which has got some issues, you are more likely to be treated with some kind of hostility. Anyway, thank you. Please subscribe, like the video, leave the comment, and share other issues that you might want me to discuss in the next video or in the future videos, so we can share opinions and share ideas. I'm not saying that I'm 100% correct in what I say. I'm talking according to my experience in China and my experience in other places. You have a good day, viewers. Like I said, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment.